What's up, guys? It's Dynasty of the Mountaintops back again. Our second show, I think. I don't know. It's the beginning of March, so it's just an insane show. We're not even going to talk pleasantries. Jeremy's with me as well. Say hi, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
There you go. We don't even have time to talk small talk. There's so much going on in the NFL right now, and then we got some other stuff as well that we wanted to talk about. So we're going to hit up the combine results, free agency, absolute crazy yesterday. We are taping the day after free agency opened. Rookie tight ends as well. There's three of those that we're going to talk about in the South wish list, and some of the things we wished for already have come true, but we still made these beforehand, so we're Nostradamus apparently. So we're going to jump right into it. First off, combine results, and we're only going to talk about the offense, obviously, because this is a fantasy show. But there were some standouts on defense too. If you wanted to talk more about that, we definitely could on a different date. First off, we have Mike Washington Jr. From running back out of Arkansas. 4.33 40-yard dash, 6'1", 223 pounds, tied the fastest 40 for a 200-pound or 220-pound or over player. Obviously, DK Metcalf was one of them, and Isaac Guerrero as well. Did you see him? What did you think about Mike Washington? Those numbers just absolutely are insane to me.
Yeah, big boy can run, man, and it tells me it just shows the power back is still alive and well, and Mike Washington's going to be one of those moose that's going to be tough to tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I heard, he flew up the board. It's kind of like a consensus. He's like the running back 3 right now, is what it sounds like. So we'll look for him probably in the second or third round, is my guess. We'll talk about the running backs in a couple 2 or 4 weeks. Let me phrase that within the next month here. But he was definitely the number one standout that I saw. We also had Chris Brazzell, wide receiver out of Tennessee, 4.37 40 at 6'4". Yeah, that'll be fun. As long as he's not like the rest of the Tennessee wide receivers that I've seen in the last 5 years. That's the only thing that kind of worries me on Chris Brazzell. How about you?
Big lanky frame, man, are always great wide receivers to have, but some of them don't pan out because it is a tough skill set to administer to the pros, the speed at least. But he's a tall target, and I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, Zachariah Branch, wide receiver out of Georgia. A lot of people started talking about him a little bit more. Apparently, he was a standout in the gauntlet. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. But if you don't know what the gauntlet is, it's a bunch of passes back and forth, left to right, and you're just grabbing the ball. And they want you to be as straight as possible instead of like zigzagging, I guess, to give yourself a little bit more time. So very big standout there. Anything on Branch, or move on?
Fun.
All right. We also have another Arkansas player who absolutely showed up and showed out as the most versatile quarterback maybe ever. Taylon Green, 4.36 40, 43 and a half inch vertical jump, and 11-foot 2-inch broad jump. Quarterbacks shouldn't be made like this. So he definitely showed out athletic wise. When he was throwing the ball, though, I was a little bit worried. Not gonna lie. I don't know if you saw a few of those passes. One of them was so far out of bounds, I think a cameraman could have caught it.
No, to me, he screams one of those individuals that are going to be, excuse me, Antoine Randall-esque. They're going to have quarterback background. You're going to hear about these dudes. You're going to forget that he played quarterback because they're going to be a wide receiver or a tight end in this league, and they're going to be able to catch the ball. And then they're going to throw a ball. They're going to do some trick play where they throw a ball 45 yards downfield, and then they're going to, remember he played quarterback in college. It's going to be one of those situations, because I think athletically, skill set wise, he is pro ready. It's just I agree with you. I don't know if he's necessarily been in the quarterback level.
Yeah, athletically, he was ready probably last year, so he's insanely athletic. A couple of the quarterbacks I just want to mention real quick that I thought, at least in the passing side of things, did really well. I thought Drew Aller, coming off of the injury, looked really good. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I have been a fan of his, but I did see a little bit more than what he was showing at Penn State, which was nice to see. And then Carson Beck, after a great year at Miami, I think he's been solidified as the number 3 quarterback now, and I personally would put him at number 2, but I know a lot of people are interested in Ty Simpson, even though he's only played 15 games. So those were two quarterbacks that kind of stood out for me. Anyone else that really stood out for you? We got two more to talk about, but anyone else that really stood out for you in the combine?
Not necessarily stood out to me in regards to what somebody different, but just to touch base on the two that you did talk about. I kind of agree with you on the Carson Beck. I know you're a big Carson Beck fan, but I'm looking at this as a situation where I'm afraid of an Anthony Richardson 2.0, where you have a guy who played one season, a season and a half of exceptional ball, and then that's all they have. That's all skills that you have to justify them off of. So, Tyson, I'm not necessarily on the Tyson wagon. I am more of the Carson Beck and Drew Allers. So we'll see exactly how that goes.
Hey, and for the viewers here that were here last year, don't forget who our number one quarterback was last year coming into this draft in 2025. So just saying, maybe we know what we're talking about a little bit with Jackson Dart playing so well last year. So
amen.
not to toot our own horn, but toot toot. And then Jeff Caldwell, wide receiver for Cincinnati, 4.3 140. That is fast, if you didn't know. 42-inch vert and 11.2 broad. So extremely athletic. And then Bryce Lance, I believe that is the brother of Trey Lance. He's also from North Dakota State. He's a wide receiver, 4.3 440, 41.5 vert and 11.1 broad. So two other lower on the totem pole, I guess you would say, wide receivers. However, it is a deep wide receiver class, and this is kind of why there's a lot of athleticism in this receiving class. And these are two that kind of stood out later rounds, but two that we wanted to at least hype up because it is 4.35 under 4.35 speed with over 40-inch vertical. Like, we could do something with that in the NFL usually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Catch the ball.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna move on. Was there anything else? I'm sorry. Anything else on the combine you wanted to discuss?
No, you feel free to move on.
All right. So, like I said, we are recording here on Tuesday after the Monday of insane free agency. So we are fresh out on it, and we got all kinds of free agencies stuff to talk about, some trades as well. And we have been off for 2 weeks, so there might have been some stuff we missed in that part of the deal as well. So we're going to start off with three quarterbacks. Malik Willis, former Green Bay quarterback, signs with Miami for a 3-year, $67.5 million deal. Sounds like he's going to be a starter in Miami, which he'll be thrown to A-Chain and Waddle, which isn't a bad thing, I feel like. Those are two pretty good guys to catch the ball from, or pass the ball to. The former Miami quarterback, Tua, is signing with Atlanta for a 1-year deal. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. If you want to talk about Malik Willis, obviously, as well. But I really wanted to get your thoughts on Tua because I don't know if he's being signed because of the worry that Penix isn't going to be ready or if he's straight up going to be the backup.
I think it might be a little bit of a both. And it's a left-handed quarterback, which Kevin Stefanski likes. I mean, the jokes are there, but he does like his left-handed quarterbacks. It's a left-handed quarterback that he likes to develop. And it's a quarterback that they were able to get on the cheap. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons, excuse me, not the Atlanta Falcons, the Miami Dolphins came out a while ago and said, hey, this is what we plan on doing. And then right before the free agency started, they committed and said, hey, we are going to release you to Tagovailoa. Now, because they said that, because they made that public, is why they are allowed to make this verbal agreement with Atlanta. And that's why the likes of, say, Kyler Murray is being held off of, because he is not officially released by the Arizona Cardinals yet. That doesn't happen until Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So that's why we're waiting on Kyler Murray news. But, I mean, that one's about as obvious as Wendell Robinson going to the Tennessee Titans was. But that's for down the road here. But nevertheless, I like this. I like the fit. Everyone tells me that Penix is going to be ready for week 1. My concern is up to week 1. 2 is going to have all of camp. 2 is going to have all of preseason. He's going to get the majority of the reps during preseason. If Tua comes out there and starts throwing the ball to Drake London and Kyle Pitts, Michael Penix is not a lock to come back as QB1, in my opinion.
That's interesting. That would be a tough thing for me to see. I know it's not the same head coach, but the organization picked them in the top 12, top 10 in the draft 2 years ago. So that would be pretty interesting if Tua ends up starting because of being better. I'll be surprised by that one. I'm also a Penix fan, as you know, so I'm a little biased on that one.
That's fair.
And then Geno Smith, Las Vegas quarterback last year, traded to the Jets. And the Las Vegas Raiders get a whopping 6th-round pick and then give up a 7th-round pick. So really, it's here you go, Geno. Go back to the Jets and have fun. And I guess it's going to be the same old Jets, it seems like. So
Yeah, to me, they have other plans in place. They want to probably. I think they want to bring another veteran. I read somewhere that Carson Wentz is of interest, so they're really going to make it archaic in regards to geriatric, in regards to that quarterback room. But we'll see what they're doing. It looks like they're planning for the quarterback next year, unless they want to take a stab at one of these young bucks in the draft this year. They do have plenty of picks to do so.
yeah, that's true. They do have a chance to take Simpson 16 or maybe even the second round. And then you alluded to where Kyler Murray's going is pretty much guaranteed. I'd love to hear this because I do not know, and I'm a huge Murray fan.
Kyler Murray, I think by the time that our show is to our masses, I think Kyler Murray will be the Minnesota Vikings quarterback. He grew up a Minnesota Vikings fan. He has had contact with Kevin O'Connell throughout the time in the NFL. And a Blue Birdie has told me that when he can be officially signed over to any team that he wants, the first meeting in person that he will be in attendance with tomorrow is Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings. So the writing to me is on the wall that he's going to be part of the Minnesota Vikings, and we're going to have ourselves a very polarized, very public quarterback battle.
Wow, that'll be interesting. Wow. I was really hoping you were going to say Pittsburgh. Obviously, I'm a huge Kyler fan.
Now
I'm a huge Rodgers fan.
this.
So my two favorite quarterbacks 2 years in a row wouldn't have been sad for me.
Nothing's official until it's official. So maybe the word is spreading internally, not just from what I'm saying. And teams that do have interest in Kyler Murray are going to maybe pick up the phone and offer him a little bit more than the league minimum than what he would be offered. But I will be shocked if Kyler Murray is not a Minnesota Viking within the next 24 hours.
Man, if you have Kyler Murray shares and you hear that, you are ecstatic. If you have Jay Jetta shares or Addison shares, you're ecstatic as well, in my opinion, too. So he's proved that he can do it. Just didn't work out the last year and a half or so that he was able to play. So we'll see what happens there. I love the breaking news that you're giving us. I appreciate that.
We'll see. Hey, we'll see.
No guarantees, but that would be a lot of fun to see on the football field. Moving on to running backs, we got Javonte Williams gets a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys. Kenneth Walker signs with the Kansas City Chiefs for 3 years, $43.05 million. This is one of the biggest ones that I saw. I don't know if you wanted to talk about it at all, but I definitely have thoughts.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, so as much as you may like Isaiah Pacheco, and I did, Kenneth Walker is a whole different dynamic. And the fact that Breece Hall was suggested to be going there until he got tagged by the Jets for, again, some reason the Jets thought was a good idea. This was the best option available, and that's exactly what Kansas City went out and did. Everyone thought they were going to go out and get a running back, so they didn't have to prey on Jeremiah Love falling to him or trading up for Jeremiah Love, and they went and got the best guy. And again, Kansas City is going to be formidable. So good luck, AFC West and AFC in general, with the stuff they got going on there. Your thoughts?
The Chiefs haven't won a thing in about 18 months. And Man, they feel like they got all kinds of momentum, don't they? They got Eric Bieniemy back. Mahomes is hurt, and yet they feel like they have all this momentum in the world, and they're already this powerhouse and this favorite to win. And I couldn't agree with you more. Kenneth Walker's ad was 100% smokescreen. I didn't buy it. I know that there was a report going out there that they were looking for a running back in the $8 million range per year. So I was like, okay, well, that's going to eliminate ETN, and that's going to eliminate Kenneth Walker. We could have anybody else in the likes of, say, Algier or anybody on those lines go toward the Chiefs. We'll see what happens. But obviously, it was a smokescreen because they're coming out paying him $43 million for a 3-year contract. So, but I think the money is well deserved. He's a Super Bowl MVP. I think he can be the bell cow. Charbonnet was just a different in a unique situation, but I think Walker goes into a very open running back room with a nice paycheck to help support his bell cow duties.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Charbonnet and Walker are separated. I know Charbonnet had a late injury or late season injury, but they don't seem worried in Seattle, or they know something we don't. So we'll see what happens there. But if they're both able to play in the regular season for our fantasy teams, and they are now separated, that is great news in fantasy world.
Agreed.
To see these two guys, who are two of the top, in my opinion, 20 pure backs probably in the NFL, be able to be by themselves, which is really nice. So also someone who's getting to be by himself, well, maybe out of a shadow, I guess. The number one now, David Montgomery, the former Detroit running back, now was traded to Houston. So the shares for Woody Marks that you were hoping for might have just been crashed, because David Montgomery sounds like he's going to be the 1A to a 2 of Woody Marks, or 1B, or 1B if you so choose.
No, full agreement on Monty. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm a big Montgomery fan, and I enjoyed the time that he was developing Jahmyr Gibbs, or the time that he was with Jahmyr Gibbs during Gibbs' development. But now Gibbs is obviously ready to break free, and Monty could see the writing on the wall, and you could tell that, hey, he got maybe 3 years left under his mileage, and he don't want to be on the bench for that time. So I as a Montgomery owner in several leagues, am looking forward to this. I wish it was toward a better offensive line, but ultimately he's going to get enough carries that it's going to make it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you there. Honestly, one of the bigger signings that I saw as well was Travis Etienne going to the Saints for 4-year, $52 million. Obviously, this means Alvin Kamara's time in New Orleans, it's either up or he's going to be a backup. Because I don't think you signed Travis Etienne for $52 million to have him be a second after what he's done 2 of the last 3 years. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Travis Etienne. I was excited having shares of Etienne and him going to this spot where there is not a number one running back. Devin Neal was fine, but he's not Etienne. Right.
No, this is probably my favorite signing from yesterday. I had one share of him, thank goodness, because it's going to be hard to get him. The New Orleans Saints offensive line is decent. They have a Tyler Shuck who has played really well last year, who nobody was really giving him too much of a shot. He is going to be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints once again. They signed Noah Fant. So there's some more offensive blocking ability there for him. Look, I like this Travis Etienne fit a lot. It's a good contract. It's 4 years worth, and I think it's going to fit very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have 4 other guys who I'm just going to kind of highlight. If you want to talk about any of them after I'm done, go for it. Tyler Algier, former Atlanta running back, now signs with the Arizona Cardinals for a 2-year, $12.25 million. Kenneth Gainwell, former Steeler running back, signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 2 years, $14 million. Rico Dowdle takes his spot from Carolina, goes to Pittsburgh for 2 years, $12.25 million. And then Isaiah Pacheco today, actually, the former Kansas City Chief running back, goes to Detroit to supplant David Montgomery's spot behind Jahmyr Gibbs.
You're right. When you thought Jameer Gibbs was going to have 100% duties, he's now going to get vultured in the red zone by the wrecking ball of Pacheco. Pacheco's now automatically, due to that injury, turned into the goal line running back. He's like a closer in baseball. He's going to be able to run the ball maybe 8 to 10 times with force, but those 8 to 10 times, he's probably going to be in the goal line red zone stealing from Gibbs.
Fourth down is a big deal too for the Detroit Lions, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's in there on those downs too, because it is really hard to tackle this dude. Moving on to the wide receivers, we have DJ Moore, former Chicago wide receiver, traded to Buffalo. Chicago got a 2026 second, which is actually in these kind of trades really good, like really good.
Like Chicago got a fantastic deal. Because considering, which we're going to talk about, we can probably. I'm going to segue here. We'll segue into our next one here. But Michael Pittman getting that trade to Pittsburgh, and that was a 6 for 7 flip. So considering Chicago got a second for DJ Moore is outrageous, especially because they are financially on the hook for him.
Right. I mean, we talked about Geno Smith, and it was a 6 for 7 flip as well, and he's a quarterback, probably going to start. Like. Getting the second round pick is just absolutely incredible for Chicago. I don't know what Buffalo was thinking, but because DJ Moore couldn't stay on that team. But we will jump to Michael Pittman since you already said him. I'm very excited for the season now. I was one of those people who wanted to go in 17 and now. Well, we'll see. But 3 years, $59 million. Michael Pittman is a Steeler with DK Metcalf. That's going to be interesting to see. His former teammate, Alec Pierce, Indianapolis wide receiver, re-signs 4 years, $116 million on 4 years. So he's being paid like a number one, and he played like a number one last year, so I get it. Wan'Dale Robinson, New York Giants wide receiver, signs with Tennessee with those two young guys for 4 years, $78 million. So now there's I guess you would call him a veteran at this point, presence there, but not too old there as well to help out the other wide receivers and Cam Ward for that matter, and be the number one possibly there.
Wan'Dale Robinson's a PPR machine, and now he's going underneath that Brian Daboll system. Remember, he's the offensive coordinator now there in Tennessee. So familiar face, and familiar one to work with, and he did fantastic last year under Daboll. So we'll see exactly what he can do in Tennessee.
Yeah, the massive signing that I thought was the number one wide receiver signing, not being biased, is Mike Evans going to San Francisco. Wow. Good offense, gets one of the best wide receivers we've seen for the last decade or so. Signs for 3 years. I didn't catch the money, but he is now a 49er, Mike Evans. And this is good on two fronts. So if you have Ricky Pierce all shares, I apologize. That might not be so great for you. But Mike Evans is now kind of away from that wide receiver gauntlet that they have down in Tampa Bay. And now Godwin and Ibuka have kind of opened themselves up as well in Tampa Bay with the loss of Mike Evans from the team. So now Baker has a few not his number one anymore, I guess. So the ball is going to go to be spread around even more is how I guess you want to phrase it there. Couple smaller signings that we wanted to go through here. Jalen Naylor, former Minnesota wide receiver, signs with Las Vegas for 3 years, $35 million. Could be the number one there because they have nothing else outside of obviously the tight end Bowers and Ashton Genty. Jahan Dotson, I don't know why I'm talking about him, but he did sign with Atlanta for 2 years, $15 million. Rashid Shaheed, Seattle wide receiver, stays there for 3 years, $51 million. Romeo Doubs today, former Green Bay wide receiver, signs with New England for 4 years. I think this is one that we can kind of talk about just for a minute. Romeo Doubs, good receiver. Not great, but good receiver. Going to Drake May. Kind of filling probably the Diggs void is what my guess is. And also another very, very cramped wide receiver room opens up a little bit more in Green Bay. So any of those you wanted to kind of talk about a little bit?
No, I think Shaheed got the contract that he deserves, and I'm looking forward to seeing him continue his time in Seattle now with him being cemented in there permanently. Jalen Naylor's definitely a sneaky add to Vegas. He produced very well numbers with J.J. McCarthy, which was apparently very hard to do for even the likes and the talents of Justin Jefferson. So props to him, and let's see what he can do in Vegas.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought the Jalen Naylor signing is kind of under the radar great for Vegas with everything else that they're making because it gives them another weapon to see what's going to stick with Fernando Mendoza obviously being the number one pick. And then two tight ends. There were other tight ends that signed, but I thought these two were kind of the most important. Isaiah Likely, former Baltimore tight end, joins his former head coach up in New York for 3 years, is now a Giant, follows John Harbaugh there. And then Travis Kelce, in my opinion, the GOAT, is coming back for his 14th season, 1 year, $12 million. So either of those that you want to talk about, or was there another tight end that you thought was more important there?
I love Isaiah Likely to the Giants, man. When what Jackson Dart does with tight ends is kind of ridiculous. He made 3 tight ends in the Giants last year be actually relevant to a point where you were trading for them in fantasy. Now that he's going to have basically a wide receiver 1 as a tight end 1, he's going to be really set here because Isaiah Likely is, I don't want to say, okay, I don't want to say he's wide receiver 1, but I'm saying he's going to have wide receiver types of characteristics as a tight end 1. And he's going to be able to have him all over the field. Harbaugh he's like you mentioned, he's with Harbaugh. He's going to be able to use working with that skill set. I like Likely a lot in New York.
Yeah, I like it as well. And I don't think the Giants are done with their wide receiver core because they really didn't do much yet. I have a feeling they're going to draft somebody.
Watch pick 5, man.
Yeah, number 5 is probably going to be wide receiver in my eyes after everything else they've done and not address the wide receiver room with Malik Neighbors still not healthy. So obviously they need to make sure they have somebody on the back burner for him as well. But when all 3 of those, what I believe is going to be the number 1 wide receiver drafted, whoever that is, whether it's Tyson, Tate, Lemon might work there too now. Whichever one, Malik Neighbors, and now Likely with Scatabo in the back and Tracy, that's going to be a fun offense to watch. They kind of open up a little bit more. So that'll be a lot more fun with Dart handling everything in the middle of all of it. So that'll be pretty cool to see. Speaking of tight ends, we do have 3 that are coming out in the draft that we believe are going to be fantasy relevant. One, for sure, is going to be fantasy relevant, I think, very quickly. We're going to talk about him right now. Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. If you don't know his name yet, you're kind of living under a rock at this point. But he's a slot multi-role tight end, projected mid-first round, 6'3", 241 pounds, 4'3", 940 for a tight end at 6'3", 240. That made me very, very happy. And his closest comp that I have is Sam Laporta. What did you say?
I like the Sam Laporta comparison as well. I see a lot of different skill sets with him regarding his athletic build and his speed. He is quick out of the breaks, foot speed. He is a little bit of an undersized tight end. He kind of has some blocking techniques that need some work. He tends to get a little handsy. But those hands are strong, to be honest with you. He's able to track the ball effortlessly with body control. And he definitely is fantastic in the red zone and feeling different soft spots and everything on that. But again, we gotta work on different drops that he's had in college, and we also need to have a little bit more work on press coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite part, though, he can play everywhere, no matter where, except for maybe quarterback. And his blocking is actually not bad for being undersized as well, but he does get a little handsy, as you said before. I am ecstatic about this player. I'm more excited about this guy than I was about Loveland and Warren last year, to be
I
100% honest with you.
I can fully agree. This is
This,
probably my Jeremiah Love in this class, honestly, because I think I am beyond ecstatic for him. I have a few picks where I've done mock drafts where hopefully I land him at least in one of the leagues that I have mid-tier draft pick. I'm hoping to grab him, but we'll see how it all falls. But he's definitely a stud, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he lands.
yeah, this is one of the guys I wouldn't mind, even if you have a good tight end, to scoop him up as well. Because I have a feeling he's going to be a top five tight end by the end of the year. It obviously always has to come down to landing spot because there were people that were saying that he might be going to Baltimore or going to somewhere where there's already a planted tight end one, and I was like, please don't do this again. But if he goes to somewhere where it's even possible for him to be number one tight end, I believe he will be pretty quickly. So very excited about him for sure. If you couldn't tell, Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, slot receiving tight end, projected late second round. 6'4", 239, 451 40-yard dash. To give you an idea of how fast Sadiq was, Stowers for a tight end, that is a good 40 time. 4.51. So the 4.39 was just absolutely ridiculous. And then the comp, which scares me that I saw this as his comp, by the way, because I think Trey McBride's the best player or tight end in the game right now. Even over Brock Bowers. They're close, but I think Trey McBride's the best. So comping him to Trey McBride already is kind of worrying me, but that's the comp that I kept seeing throughout everything I researched. So that's what we're going with.
Yeah, I can't disagree because I can't disagree because that's exactly what I came across. It's here. It's Trey McBride. Every single analyst is comparing it to him due to various skill sets. His hands, he can get vertical quick. And he's one of those ones that I mentioned kind of earlier who he's surprisingly has a quarterback background where, it kind of helps him find the soft spots in the zone. He knows where to go. He knows what kind of things to look for. He has no scrambling quarterback is scrambling. So it's a great fit for him. He is a little bit of an undersized tight end aspect. And he does need to work on a little bit of run blocking, at least in some of the things that I've seen. But other than that, I think he's fantastic catch radius.
Yeah, he is a little undersized. You could, unfortunately, 6'4" should not be undersized, but for a tight end, you have to be like the most athletic player on the entire field.
Exactly, you're right.
So you're usually always undersized unless you're like Darnell Washington. Run blocking does need developed a little bit. Drop rate was worse in 25 than in 24. That kind of worries you as well. That means he's not getting better. However, I do say that might have something to do with Diego Pavia, just saying. And bumped off of routes due to some physical defense. So he can get bumped off of his route a little bit, which again worries you because if you're in line, you're going to be physical. It's going to happen. But he does have that versatility as well, like I said about Sadiq, where he can play pretty much anywhere. He can be set up pretty much anywhere and be able to succeed. So those are things that kind of the tight end has to be at this point. And that's what we're seeing out of actually all three of these guys, is the first versatility of where they're able to line up, which is really cool to see. Anything else on Stowers?
No, man, he has a sweet first name. Other than that,
and then the last one, Max Clare from Ohio State, slot receiving tight end, projected third round pick, 6'4", 246. So the biggest out of the three of the guys here. 4.7 40-yard dash. Comp was Colston Loveland, which can't hate that. Colston had a pretty good year, so if he shows up with the first year that Colston had, you'll be in good shape. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 for 3 on this one here, sir. I'm going to give you Colston Loveland. I think it's a very fantastic comp, considering a few things. First off, he runs a full route tree, and his way of creating separation is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Out of the three tight ends that we have talked about, though, he's probably the least best blocker. So I want to see that get developed a little bit more. And he does have a little bit of drops, but those are towards actual strong production in intermediate and deep targets. So, I mean, there are drops there, but with his production standards and the way that they're going, they make up for itself. And he's a better run blocker. Let's see, Eli. He's a better run blocker than Eli. But other than that, I think he's a fantastic talent, and rightfully so. He belongs in our top three.
Yeah, the one thing that worries me is was he a big fish in a small pond at Purdue, kind of being so he had such a great year in 2024 that 25 when he came to Ohio State, small fish in the big pond because everyone's a small fish in that pond.
Yeah, really.
They just turned him out. He took a little bit of a step back. Now, is that because of Cornell Tate and Jeremiah Smith? Could be, but that's the one thing that kind of worried me was he was so good at Purdue in 24 that, in 24 that going to Ohio State you just expected so much more and to be open even more because of the weapons out there, and he did take a little bit of a step back in yards, routes run. Yards per route run, average depth per target, and receiving grade. He also had an unimpressive combine, which always kind of worries you a little bit, especially when you need to be athletic to be a tight end, as we said before, and a little bit of injury concerns as well. So those were a couple of things that worried me. But the multi-sport background, always positive. Quarterback background, like you said before about Stowers as well. It gives him some feel of timing and some space, so that's a good thing as well. So these three guys probably going to be in the first three rounds, I would say, probably in your fantasy drafts is my guess, especially since there's not much out there, and if you play tight end premium, you always need them. So anything else you wanted to talk about tight ends? Is there anyone on the radar that we didn't talk about?
No, I really like our top three. I do believe that our top three are going to be probably the top 3 to 4 out of the top 3 or 4 tight ends drafted in fantasy drafts first. I don't think landing spot. I think these guys are landing spot proof. But we'll see exactly in regards to depth of how they go. But I think all 3 of them can contribute this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, there could be one guy who kind of jumps them depending on landing spot, which is Michael Trigg, in my opinion. Just so you know that name. We don't have too much on him right now, but just so you know that name, if he goes to, like, I don't know, backs up Kelsey, be ready for him for 2027 kind of deal.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be interesting. Learning from the GOAT. That would be a lot. That would be smart. And last but certainly not least on our list of things to talk about today, I know we have a lot of information coming through for you today, but being off for 2 weeks in the off season, we thought wasn't going to be a big deal, and well, maybe it's a little bit bigger than we thought, especially these last 2 weeks with the combine and the free agency just getting started. So we do have our wish list wrap up. If you didn't hear us the last month or two, I guess it's been basically since the Super Bowl, we went through the other 3 divisions, East, North. We went through 2 out of 3 of the other divisions. My apologies. We have one more coming next week, don't we? And we went through the North and the East. But this week we're going through the South. First off, the NFC, we have the Atlanta Falcons. And this actually already happened. We already talked about them, so not going to spend too much time on this, but excited to see Algier be able to walk away from the Atlanta Falcons, get his own gig. Not a huge fan of where he landed, but we'll see what happens there. But it does also open up Bijan Robinson to basically be the dude and not come off the field virtually at all.
And mine was a little bit of wide receiver depth in the Atlanta wide receiver room for a little help of Drake London and Michael Penix or Tua in this case. the production is shoddy behind London. Mooney and McLeod are now both free agents and they've gone elsewhere. And we did talk about Dotson, so that was a nice add. I think they need a little bit more than Dotson. I think they need to get one more alpha in there to help with London and to kind of spread that field open a little bit more. But with Kyle Pitts going off in the way he has last year, hopefully he continues to develop under Stefanski.
Yeah, with London, Pitts, and Bijan, if they could have a clear number two, but a good number two, maybe a little bit better than Mooney, that would be a really fun offense to see. I agree with you there. Carolina Panthers.
I'd like to see them work on their O-line, to be honest with you. They could use a little bit of a retool. And Keith Nwanu tore his patellar tendon in that wild card game, and they have now the 19th overall pick. They did very well in working on defensive aspects in the free agency, but if they want to maybe focus that 19th pick on maybe filling in for Iquanu or, kind of working something else there. Also, both their centers are free agents, so they need to get a center ASAP.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was thinking of the offensive line too. And then I look at their wide receiving core, and they have Ted McMillan, Jalen Coker, and Xavier Legette. All young guys. So I would like them to bring in kind of like a veteran presence wide receiver, if that makes sense, to kind of be able to help these guys out. Not even really too much on the field stuff. It's more along the lines of like becoming a pro. Because there's no one there to really do that. So I think they have a pretty good receiving core. It's just the fact of developing a little bit further, if that makes sense. And I think a veteran wide receiver would be able to help them with that. Because I love Tet, so if anyone can help him, let's go. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints. They kind of talked about, I decided to change it once Eddie got there. And I know you'll talk about that in a second, but wide receiver 2 is so important for the New Orleans Saints because they do not have one. Rashid Shaheed was a really good second for Chris Olave. However, he's now in Seattle and was for the second half of last year. So I believe that, me personally, I think Jordan Tyson would be a perfect fit here. A big dude on the outside with Chris Olave being able to be the number one and Tyson being able to be your Z would be a lot of fun to see.
And my actual wish was granted. I wanted a full running back room reset. Devin Neal is okay, but we need to see a lot more of him before we worry about giving him the rock as our lead. And Kamara it's almost pina colada time, to quote him, to be honest with you. So they were rumored to be in on the Jeremiah Love sweepstakes. So it was either prepare for Jeremiah Love or grab one in free agency, which we've talked about, ETN was gobbled up.
Yeah, Eddie and going to the Saints kind of closed out that running back problem, I think, because Devin Neal being the backup, I'm okay with that. I think they still have Kendre Miller as well, if he's ever going to be healthy. So I think the running back room is pretty good, even if Kamara does retire or whatever happens with him. So that'll be interesting. And one thing I did want to say about the wide receiver side, though, they may not take him in the first round. It might be one of those teams that take one of the two Indiana receivers or early in the second round type deal to help out Olave as well. So don't be surprised about that. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if you would like to start, sir.
Yeah, my wish was not granted on the Tampa Bay Bucs here. I wanted them to run it back. I wanted to see them go one more round here with Levante David and Mike Evans. Levante David is not committed to another team. I honestly think that he's going to retire now that Mike Evans has gone to other pastures. I think he would have waited and played another season if Mike Evans was coming back. I think Tampa Bay was close. I think they had a great skill set, but you're right. What was talked about with the wide receiving core, the time for those young kids, the wide receivers, to have an opportunity here to play some ball on a regular basis, and having Mike Evans targets out of there only helps that.
Yeah, I mean, they re-signed Kate Otten as well, and I didn't even talk about Jalen McMillan still being there. So, like, they do have an incredible receiving core that loses a little bit of loss there because of Mike Evans, but you're hoping that Ibuka can kind of close that gap. My biggest thing is keep Baker Mayfield healthy. He's really good when he's healthy. If
Yes.
he's hurt, he will play hurt and not play anywhere near what he plays when he's healthy, as we saw coming down the stretch this past year. He will gut it out, and he will be better than probably any backup you could probably imagine. But he won't be the Baker Mayfield that was pseudo MVP first 5-6 weeks of the season last year. So if you can keep Baker Mayfield healthy and clean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could probably win this division again or be back there since they had a hiatus this past year. Yeah, we went through them real quick. Obviously, these four teams are. We have no idea what's happening in the NFC South. If you put a ticket on one of these teams, it's basically a 1-in-4 shot, right? Because you have no idea who's going to come out of this division. It's pretty exciting. This is one of the most exciting divisions to watch, to be honest with you, when you look at that. Moving on to the AFC South, we have the Houston Texans, which I'll let you start on this one because we had the exact same thing. And I think anyone who asked this question has the exact same question or answer as well.
100%.
So go ahead.
Let's get a better O-line. Flat out, like they keep trading away and losing to free agency valuable assets on that offensive line and assets they've developed and drafted and now are gone. Now that the ones that they do have are necessarily known for their best numbers, Jake Andrews is their center. He ranked dead last in pass blocking win rate. Their guard, Ed Ingram, is a free agent. I have not heard if he signed anywhere yet, so he is potentially to be on the board of being gone. And they have no depth at guard after they moved Juice Shrugs in that trade for Montgomery. So as a Montgomery fan, as a Montgomery and Woody Marks owner, I please want to see some offensive line improvement during this free agency and during the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. The biggest difference that you saw from them to pretty much every other team they played, even the Steelers have a better offensive line than them. And that's saying something because the Steelers do not have a great offensive line. But CJ Stroud he has to throw the ball so fast. Like, it's absolutely insane how bad their offensive line is and how great the rest of their team looks. If they can just have an offensive line, I think this team's one of those Super Bowl contenders with an offensive line. But you have to have that to be able to actually say that. Indianapolis Colts, if you want to start this one as well, yeah.
Yeah, this one was checked off as wish granted. Woohoo! I wanted them to identify their wide receiver one and pay them. It's that simple. Like you're trying to promote your quarterback and you're trying to get Daniel Jones to sign a deal, and yet we have all this muck with who the wide receiver was. Pierce was playing fantastic. They didn't want Pierce to leave the building, but they had Pittman signed. Pittman had one more year in his contract left. What were they going to do with Pittman's the rest of his deal? Are they going to extend him? That's what I wanted to have clarified, and they did exactly that. They gave Pierce the bag, and they traded Pittman to the Steelers, and they got themselves under control in regards to the wide receiver room.
Yeah, and they helped me check off my my box of the Steelers as well, man. But streamlined targets was what I said, so it's very similar to what you were saying. They needed to figure out kind of the same thing as what we were talking about with the Bucs and with the Packers, which they both have done. And so did the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot of people that are catching the ball on this team. And now you have your slot guy, you have your tight end, and now you have your number one in Downs, Warren, and Alec Pierce. So those three with JT, of course, running the ball behind them. Who knows who's throwing the ball at this point for them, but hopefully it's DJ. We'll see what happens there. Or Bradley Leonard would be okay for me as well. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But streamlining the targets is always what I'm looking for in fantasy. I tend to stay away from these teams that have like 3-4 wide receivers who are all about the same, all about same targets, things like that, because you never know who's going to eat that day. I like that consistency of, even if they're not great, they're still getting the ball, right? So that's I was happy to see that, and they did. They solidified that today or yesterday. So Jacksonville Jaguars, for me, it's something that it sounds like it's not going to happen, but I want it to happen. And as a fantasy manager, trade Brian Thomas Jr. And this is for multiple reasons. First off, you have Jacoby Myers. He's not going anywhere. Parker Washington looked pretty darn good coming back down the stretch there. BTJ has not played well with Trevor Lawrence. I continue to say his best games were always with Mac Jones. Him and Trevor never really were on the same page 2 years ago. And BTJ needs a fresh start. And I also want to see Travis Hunter on offense, not just defense. So to do that, you need to trade BTJ, get him out, and be able to have Travis Hunter be on the offense again, not just play cornerback like it sounds like he's going to do right now. But I know the Jaguars do not want to trade BTJ from what it sounds like, reports at least. So this one might not be a check mark, which will be very sad.
Yeah, this one reminds me of the Office meme where he's talking about the vasectomy, where he's like snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap, because that's what I've heard all weekend for the past 6 or 7 days. Is he's traded? Oh, he's not going to be traded. He wants to be traded. He's not going to be traded. As of now, he's not going to be traded, but we'll see exactly what happens at the draft. For my Jacksonville, it's not going to make too many Tootin owners happy, but I'm going to ask them to bring in a veteran running back to pair with Tootin. I don't know if Tootin's ready for the bell cow back title right now. And with ETN gone, there is a lot of mouths to be fed. Let's bring in like a Sean Tucker or Rashad White, even Aaron Jones, some type of veteran presence that will help alleviate some carries off of Tootin and allow Tootin to develop a little bit more into a bell cow back that they want to have him do.
Aaron Jones piqued my interest. That's really interesting. That was the best name that I heard out of them for this spot. Because he could be the number one again, or pseudo 1A, 1B with Tootin, which will be pretty exciting. I like that call. And then finally, Tennessee Titans. For me, an offensive line to protect Ward. Obviously, my original idea was a wide receiver, and you're going to talk about that in a second. But I actually changed it once they picked up who they picked up, and they do need to protect Ward a little bit better to be able to let him disperse the ball to the two young guys and also your guy.
Yeah, my guy, Wan'Dale Robinson going to the Tennessee Titans. We mentioned it a little earlier. My wish list was just to have that. That was probably the worst kept secret in all of the free agency. Probably about a week ago, we were hearing that Wan'Dale Robinson was favored to go to Tennessee, and I'm just glad to see it break itself out. I think it's a great fit for Cam Ward. I think it's a great fit for Wan'Dale Robinson, and I think it's a great familiar face for Brian Daboll to start building around.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's number one or not, but we're going to sure find out. That's for sure here. But you also have those two young guys in DK and A.M. Manor. So at worst, you have 3 number 2s, I feel like. So you've seen in Green Bay how that can work. So we'll see what happens there as long as Cam Ward moves forward or projects forward like we expect him to. So, but yeah, that is the wish list for us. And we got done a lot quicker than I thought. We did that really well, I have to say.
I told you.
That is a lot of information today.
I told you.
Was there anything, I guess real quick before we head out of anything we talked about today, was there anything kind of piqued your interest we didn't talk about or that we missed?
No, nothing that we missed. I think we covered a lot here, but there is one thing where some flowers are needed to be given and a soapbox needs to be given, however you want to. The microphone is yours. I would like to know from a Pittsburgh fan what your opinion is in regards to the free agency moves that were done by the Steelers yesterday. Jamal Dean, Rico Dowdle, and obviously you gave your thoughts on Michael Pittman.
Yeah, so since it's a fantasy podcast, we didn't talk about Jamil Dean. Love that move. I think that's a solidified cornerback with JPJ on the other side, so that would be nice. The offensive moves, I'm a Rico Dowdle fan, have been for a while. Said that he was going to be the number one in Dallas. He was. Said he was going to be make Chuba fits in Carolina. Kind of did. And now I believe he's going to overtake Warren as well. But we'll see what happens. I believe it, but we'll see what actually happens. And as far as Michael Pittman goes, I still want a wide receiver in the draft personally because I think Casey Concepcion would fit in beautifully with this team now as that kind of quick slot guy. But I absolutely love two monsters on the outside who are just going to go up and get it. It's also going to make DK better because he's not going to be able to be double teamed, triple teamed all the time with no one on the other side because Pittman is a legitimate receiver. So as long as they have a wide quarterback who can actually disperse the ball to all these guys, with Freiermuth also playing tight end, and Darnell Washington hopefully will be okay for the season, that is a fun offense in my eyes. Now, I might be a little biased. We don't have the same offensive coordinator, thank God. So we'll see what happens there. But McCarthy typically has a pretty high-powered offense, and he has the guys to do it as well. So I'm very excited for the season. I was hoping we went 0-17 originally so that we could get Arch or Moore or Sellers or, the other 8 quarterbacks who are coming out next year, from what it sounds like. But now I'm a little bit more excited about possibly actually having a shot at the division, which is pretty cool to see. So it gives you a little bit more hope with another wide receiver there to open it up a little bit more on the passing game.
No, I thank you for the feedback. I've always liked Michael Pittman, so when I heard that he was coming here, it was an audible gasp. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does with this team.
Yeah, and I just hope that they get a quarterback that is legitimate. Not saying that Will Howard wouldn't be fun to check out, but with these 2 veterans on the outside, praying that Will Howard works is not the move I want to make right now. So we'll see what happens, for sure. But the quarterback's the most important part. Wouldn't be bad if Aaron Rodgers came back. Wouldn't be bad if we got Kyler. Wouldn't be bad. People are going to hate me for saying this, but it wouldn't be bad if Kirk Cousins came here, like I was saying last year as well. So just someone who can get the ball out. So that's the number one priority at this point is finding the quarterback to make this all work together. So I'll get off my soapbox as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. As a fantasy manager, however, I am ecstatic about the moves as well because McCarthy's offenses typically get you points. If you followed his career, the wide receivers typically get points. The running backs typically get points fantasy-wise. Quarterback definitely gets points. So offensively, I think there's a lot of mouths to feed, but a lot of places you can eat as well. So I'm pretty excited for it. But thanks for the question. I appreciate it. I love my bias every once in a while, right?
Yeah, I know you do. You deserve it. Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we're going to head out of here. We will see you in 2 weeks. I'm sure there's going to be insane amounts of news, so we'll talk about all that in 2 weeks here. Also, we'll talk about rookie running backs. It's a little bit smaller of a class, but they're starting to develop who's who here. And then picks trade database. So we're getting really close to draft season for the NFL, and then right after that is going to be the draft season for your fantasy dynasty leagues, and we want to know how we can, what we need to do to trade in and trade out of those picks that we have currently. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then finish up the wish list like I thought we were doing this week. That just brain fart there with the West. We got Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers and Rams, San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks that are the Super Bowl champions. We will end this entire thing with, it just so happens that their name ended it as well, which kind of worked out. But for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty for the Mountaintops. Check us out on YouTube, Apple, and Podbean. Also, check us out on our socials at dynastymttops on Blue Sky and X. Email us at dynastymttops@gmail.com for any comments, show ideas. What did you think? Are we crazy? Are there more tight ends that you like? What is your wish list? Things like that. So feel free to chat with us anytime you want. But again, for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This is the Dynasty of the Mountaintops. Have a great 2 weeks, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Rock on.